everybody, it's Stacy with Pitch Deck Fire. We have another one of our pitch hacks of the week here today. Thank you for joining us. We are so excited to help you and your company shine in your next pitch. So if you haven't been with us before, what we do is we focus on tips and tricks on pitching, pitch decks, investor decks, sales decks, live presentations. So if you are a startup looking for funding, or you're a company who's established and you're looking for new customers, maybe you are pitching in a pitch competition coming up, or maybe you're even an employee at a company and you're in the incubator program, you can all find value in what we talk about here in Pitch Hacks. So let's jump right into it. What is this week's pitch hack? All right, the question is, why does every pitch have a problem slide? You may have noticed this if you've gone to pitch competitions or done a little bit of research on pitching and tried to understand what to put in your own pitch deck. And you always see the problem slide. You always see solution, problem and solution, right? We always see those two slides in every pitch deck that we see, or at least every good one, right? So there's a reason for that. There's a reason why we always have a problem slide in every pitch deck. It has to do a little bit with storytelling, and it also has a little bit to do with how to put together a flow of a presentation. So there's a TED Talks that you might have seen some number of years ago by Nancy Duarte, and she talks about some of the greatest orators in history. They have a very consistent pattern by which they talk about what they're presenting, and that consistent pattern kind of flows with human nature, and it helps the audience to kind of follow along and be invested and interested in a presentation. So to give you an example of some of the people that use this in their presentations, Steve Jobs, Martin Luther King, so those are some good orators, right? What they do is they go through a kind of positive and negative back and forth through their presentations. So they'll start it off like talking about the negative situation, right? It's really bad in the world today. It's bad. Here's the situation. And they paint that picture. And then they oscillate to this positive, happy future state, this like, future, the dream, it's what it's going to be like, the iPhone, right? They go from the, negative to the positive, the negative to the positive, and they go back and forth in every presentation that they do throughout the presentation. And the reason why this is helpful for pitches is because it brings your audience along, right? They're interested and they're invested in that negative, and then they want to know what's the solution to the positive side of it, right? So it's drawing your audience in is a big reason why we do it. Another reason why you want to definitely lay out your problem statement on your pitches and in your pitch decks, specifically, especially if we're pitching to investors. So if you're pitching to like potential customers, you may want to be a little bit cautious of using the really strong problem statement focus. It fits a little bit better for an investor audience. When you're doing it for a sales audience, you don't want to hit them really hard with the negative. You don't want to tell them like, it's really bad, like your life sucks, right? That's not gonna work. That's not gonna feel good to your audience. You need to look at it a little bit more in terms of opportunity or maybe industry trends that are negative to their company, but we're not gonna definitely tell them like, you have a problem, because that's a little bit too intense for a sales deck. But a lot of times when we're pitching for like a potential investor in a pitch competition, which tends to be somewhat similar, kind of an investor audience focus, then we definitely want to lay out the problem. And the reason we do that is because we want to lay out the kind of objective view of why our company should exist. So when we say the problem, what we're doing is we're not saying, we have this really cool thing and lots of people are going to want to buy it, yay. Instead, what we're saying is, there's a problem. It exists in the world. It's objective. It has numbers. There are humans that are having problems. And it doesn't have to do with me. I'm not telling you this story. It's this objective thing. We can all agree that humans have this problem, right? So we lay that problem out very clearly, and then we can layer on the solution. And at that point, because we've laid out this objective problem, the solution that we're adding to that is basically saying, now that you agree with that, I have the solution. And it makes it a much easier kind of sell to your audience. They're much more open to that solution and in agreement with you when you lay out the problem and solution. So those are a couple reasons why problem is a really common slide that you see in pitch decks. So definitely think about it with your company when you're putting together your pitch deck or thinking about how you're going to go through your pitch. Think about, what is the problem that I'm solving in the world? There's definitely a problem out there. There's a reason why your customers want to buy what you're selling. What is that reason? What does that look like? Be really negative about it. Paint that picture. Really tell them why it hurts. because that's going to really show us the reality. It's going to show us what actually exists in the world. It's going to make me feel strongly about it before I even get to the point where you're telling me that you have the solution. So that's why we have problem statements in our pitch decks. So thanks for joining me today. I hope you got some value out of today's video. I'd love to hear your thoughts on challenges you've had putting together your problem statement slide, why maybe you think there shouldn't be a problem slide. Love to hear that if you have other opinions. Maybe if you've done a sales presentation, what you've done instead of a problem slide. Maybe give us some examples. I'd love to hear your thoughts in the comments below. If you have any questions or you would like to see me answer your question in an upcoming pitch hack video, go ahead and submit as well your ideas down below. We do pitch hack videos every single week, and I would love to see you here again soon. Happy pitching!